2, 1.
See you again on another episode of Room 1221 Live. You already know, this is where we have all the important conversations about the things that matter most regarding your body, your choices, and your sexual health. Today, we're talking about a topic that affects every woman, especially if you are post-pubescent. We're talking about menstruation and the menstrual cycle. I'm joined by two very good-looking, very resourceful doctors, Dr. Suri and Dr. Noel. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could you please introduce yourselves, Dr. Suri?
Okay, so my name is Dr. Hannah Suri. I'm a general practitioner and a preventive medicine advocate, and I'm so glad to be here today.
We're glad to have you, Dr. Suri.
Thank you.
Dr. Noel.
Okay, so I'm Noel Senyokumade. I'm a medical doctor, yes, and also an entrepreneur.
Sorry. Dr. Suri, let me
Yes.
start with you.
All right.
The menstrual cycle. Could you please explain it to us, the phases and the things that go on in a woman's body during the cycle?
Yeah. So, the funny thing about the menstrual cycle is that when people think about menstruation, they only think about the few days that we bleed for, and it's very absurd. So it's actually a cycle, as the name suggests. So we have ideally 28 average days in the cycle, but of course we have an allowance of plus or minus 7 days. So ideally we say that the menstrual cycle for every woman should last between 21 to 35 days. And the menstrual cycle normally begins when you are about 9 years old and ends at probably the age of 45. So that is during your menstrual period, or menstrual, during your reproductive phase. Yes. So during your menstrual cycle, the first day is when you start bleeding. So the first day of your period is the first day of the menstrual cycle. Typically, it should last between 3 to 8 days. Less than 3 days is considered abnormal. More than 9 days is considered abnormal as well. So once you start bleeding, or on the first day that you start bleeding, it is known as the menstrual phase, right? And during the menstrual phase, the uterine lining is shedding itself. So that's when you are seeing the blood. And then during that time as well, in the ovaries, which is also a portion of the reproductive system, right? There's also something called follicular recruitment, something like that. So the eggs are developing for throughout the cycle, because the cycle is basically you releasing eggs at one point in time, right? So during the menstrual phase, you also have the ovaries, which are recruiting follicles, in quotes, right? So the first 5 days is the menstrual phase. Then from the 5th to the 14th day or the 13th day is known as the follicular phase. It sort of interjects with the menstrual phase, but we are just going to leave it separately and call it the follicular phase.
Okay.
So the follicular phase, that's when the ovaries are recruiting eggs, and then a minimum of 12 eggs are recruited, but 1 egg is released into the uterus.
Okay.
That's where, we house the baby, and then the baby grows and you give birth, yeah. So during the follicular phase, your ovaries are now getting the eggs and then preparing the eggs for the next phase, and the next phase is called the ovulatory phase.
Okay.
The ovulatory phase is when the egg is now released into the uterine cavity, and then that's where pregnancy can occur, or that's where pregnancy occurs, ideally in the fallopian tubes, which is also a portion of the female reproductive system. Yes, so during this time, especially during the follicular phase and then the ovulatory phase, you are at a high risk of getting pregnant. That's if you don't want to get pregnant. If you do want to get pregnant, you are sure banker, you're going to get pregnant by all means. Once our cycle is going on well. So we normally say the sperm lasts in the body, or the sperm can stay in the body for about 5 days. So you see, if you have sex 5 days before your ovulatory phase, that's normally on day 14. And the sperm can live for 5 days, and definitely when the egg is released, you can get pregnant. After the ovulatory phase, we now have the luteal phase. And the luteal phase, it's basically your body thinking that you are pregnant in quotes, and your body now saying that, oh, she's pregnant, let's further build up the uterine lining and make sure that the baby is comfortable. But if you have disappointed your body and you're not pregnant, your body will continue with the luteal phase. Then after 21 to 35 days, or on the 21st day if your cycle is 21 days, or after the 28th day if your cycle is 28 days, then the lining will shed again because you have disappointed your body and you're not pregnant.
The cycle starts
The
again.
cycle will start again.
Okay, so
all right.
if I'm getting this right, we start with the menstrual phase,
Yeah.
then we go to the follicular phase, then the ovulatory phase,
Yes.
then the luteal
Luteal
phase,
phase.
then rinse and
Cycle
repeat.
Then rinse and repeat.
All right.
Can I just interject a little bit?
Yes, please.
So the follicular phase and the menstrual phase normally occur together. So the follicular phase actually starts on the first day of your menstruation, right?
Oh, okay.
But the menstruation stops midway, and then,
And
the
then
follicular
it
phase continues.
All
Yes,
right,
please.
all right, got it. I never knew that. I thought things happened. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks,
You're
Doc, for
welcome.
that. Now, Dr. Noel,
Yeah.
Dr. Sari mentioned something about people thinking that the period is just the menstrual phase or just the time that you're bleeding.
Okay.
Why is it important to understand the entirety of the menstrual cycle?
So as she mentioned, so the menstrual cycle will help you to plan your reproductive life. Get it? Yes, and the cycle is very important because she mentioned about the ovulatory phase. Yeah, that's when you have the high probability of getting pregnant. So in case you want to get pregnant, then this is your phase. You have to know about these cycles so that you can plan. Probably, she also mentioned that if you have sex, the sperms can last about 5 days in the uterus,
Yeah.
and thereby when the ovaries are released, it can fertilize. Yeah, so if you want to plan your pregnancy, you can use the cycle to actually go forward with that. Also, aside that, if you want to prevent pregnancy, yes, you can also depend on this cycle. Maybe you are the person you don't like contraceptives. Yes, we have the calendar method of prevention of pregnancies. Yes, you can use the menstrual cycle to actually time. Yes, because we have a period that is called the free period. Yes, that's after like 2 weeks after the ovulation. That's mostly your free period. I'll not depend on that. Me, I don't take risks.
It's
Yes,
not.
I mean it does work for people. Yes, but it's a physiological process. Your body can disappoint you. You see now then Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean with the menstrual cycle is very important. So you get to plan your pregnancies as well as also prevent unwanted pregnancies. Yes, and also with the menstrual cycle, you have to know exactly your cycle days because some disorders can mess up your cycle. And if you don't know your regular cycle, you think it's just normal, but there's some underlying condition that's causing these irregularities in the cycle. So
Yeah.
it's just best to know the cycle and you know.
Thank you. Now I'm going to throw a question at both of
Okay.
you. It's not really a question, but there's this notion,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this part of the world, that menstruation is unclean or is dirty or, you know, it shouldn't be touched. What would you say about that? Let me start with you, Dr. Noel.
Oh, first of all, I don't think menstruation is a dirty thing. Yes, it's a normal physiological event that happens in every woman. So I think it's all about us. We humans, we have to accept this. Get it? I think it's because of the poor education. People are not well educated about the human body and how the female reproductive system works.
Yeah.
Yes, so I think it's mostly the men that are spreading this conspiracy, but then I think it should be debunked. Yeah, it's not a dirty thing at all. As far as we get to understand that it's a normal event and every woman has to go through this, I think we would go from there.
Thanks, Dr. Noel. Dr. Sorry.
Yeah, so I completely agree with him. Menstruating is a good thing. It means that you are within your reproductive cycle, meaning that you can get pregnant and bring life into the world. So it shouldn't be seen because we, as a society, we value pregnancies, we value children. So why would we not like or not appreciate the very thing that shows that we are able to have children? It's absurd to me, honestly, and I think it should be debunked. Menstruation is not dirty at all. It just means that you are capable of bringing forth life. Yes.
Thank you, Doc. Let me stay with you on this
Okay.
one. There's also the tracking apps. The some people will note down my period started today, and this happened today, and that happened today. Would you say it's important to track your period?
Very important, extremely important. So during the various phases of the menstrual cycle,
Yeah.
it's run by hormones, right?
Yes.
And once you have the presence of hormones, it's basically running your bodily functions and everything. So you realize that, especially like when you're getting to your period, you realize that you're a little bloated, you are cramping, you are in a bad mood. It's just your hormones acting out. Or during that time, you have a decreased level of hormones. So each and every phase of the cycle comes with its, should I say, attitude or with its various symptoms. So if you want to, and for a lot of people, depending on the jobs you do, if you're an athlete, you realize that, oh, when I'm menstruating, I don't have enough energy. So you'd want to tailor your workout towards those phases.
Yeah.
I don't have energy during my like the menstrual phase. But as you're getting closer to the ovulatory phase, you realize that your energy is picking up. If you're an athlete, then you want to, tailor your workout to something like that. So that's just an example. But of course, we have different professions. We have like different things that you can use the tracking for. And of course, as he rightly said, to prevent or to, get pregnant as well, it's very important to track your cycle.
All
Yeah.
right. Got it. Now, Dr. Noel,
Yeah.
I've been tracking my period and I've noticed some irregularities. At what point, what things are red flags that I should look out for to alarm myself to know when to, go see a doctor?
Okay, so for the irregularities, it can be either you're having your days of your cycle is a lot, as in the normal cycle is between 21 to 20 to 30 days, right?
35.
Yeah.
35. Yes. And so if your cycle is above 35 days, that's oligomenorrhea, and that calls for an alarm. Yes, and if it's also less than 21 days, that's the, how do you call it?
Polymenorrhea.
I think it's the polymenorrhea.
Polymenorrhea.
Yes,
Please, I'm
and
not hearing any of these terms. Could you please
oh,
repeat them?
Yes.
Oligomenorrhea
Menorrhea, which means
and
like reduced number of menstrual periods.
okay,
And then polymenorrhea means like you're having an increased frequency of your periods,
right,
basically. Yes.
right. Got it.
yes.
Thank you. Please carry on.
So yeah, so with those two, it calls for an alarm, and also we have a point that you're not having your period at all. So that's the amenorrhea. That one you should go and seek for medical advice, and also missed periods. Sometimes you're there, you've not had your period for like 3 consecutive times cycles. It's cause for alarm. You should go and see, because aside sometimes it may be normal. Maybe you've missed your period once or twice. It can be normal, or probably due to taking of these oral contraceptives or not. But there may be an underlying condition that can cause that.
Yeah.
Yes, and most conditions, for we know what fibroids are, right?
Yes.
Yes, I think that's one of the most common cause, and also endometriosis.
Yeah.
Yes, and
PCOS.
yes, PCOS and adenomyosis. Yes, and PCOS is I think it's more common.
Yeah, very, very
Yes, it's
common.
more common. These ones can cause irregularities in your cycle. Therefore, if you see any of these irregularities, you should definitely contact a health practitioner to help you with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, doctors. Now, let's talk about hormones. It's like they run our lives. For us women, premenstrual, postmenstrual, headaches, mood swings, all of that, right? How do stress and lifestyle changes affect these hormones, and how does that affect our menstrual cycles and our life as a whole?
So personally, I like to say that hormones, as you rightly said, they run our lives. For the menstrual cycle to function adequately, we need four hormones to work synergistically, which means they have to work together in order to produce or in order to run the menstrual cycle smoothly. Now, when you have other factors or things that will stress the body in any way, shape, or form, then there's a disbalance with these hormones. So that's like an external something. Internally, when you have certain disease conditions or when you have certain syndromes, like he mentioned, PCOS, which stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome, can also sort of dysregulate the hormones, and then your menstrual cycle wouldn't be functioning correctly or wouldn't be functioning well. And earlier I was talking about stress. I like to say that women we don't like stress. So
We
so
really don't.
you would realize that for some people, you've been having like a regular cycle you've been having regular menstruation within the stipulated 21 to 35 days. Your cycle is always on point. It's always like maybe 27 days. Then you realize that, this month there's been a change. Now my cycle has changed like 36 days. What's going on?
Yeah.
Then you realize that, it's because I've, started a new job and it's stressing me out. That's why. So there are so many things that can influence the menstrual cycle, right?
Yeah.
And as women, it can be hard to, pinpoint what it is sometimes. It can be internally, as I said earlier, from whatever may be going on. So it could be a PCOS, or externally due to stress. It could also be certain medications we are taking. Some people take the emergency contraceptive pill like it's chewing gum. They have sex. Oh, I might be pregnant. And they take the emergency. That can dysregulate your cycle. So I don't know if I'm going off track here. Am I still within the boundaries of your question?
Yes, please, you
Okay.
are.
Okay, great.
You are.
I thought I was going off track. Okay, that's fine. So yes, there are many things that can.
Okay. I'll come back to this,
Okay.
especially the contraception part.
Okay.
But Dr. Noel, both of you have mentioned conditions like PCOS, endometriosis, and things. Let's hammer down on that for a second.
Okay.
What really are these conditions? How do they come up? And one, how do I know that I might be suffering from these? Yes, let's start from there.
Okay, so with PCOS, that's the polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's a syndrome is a collection of say, yes, let me use the word collection. It's a collection of disorders or diseases that come together to form a syndrome. Yeah, so with the PCOS, it's basically the formation of cysts. Cysts are a collection of fluids in the ovaries or on the ovaries. You get it? So with the ovary that is round like that, yes, you will form cysts. That's a collection of fluids around the ovaries. That's most likely that's what causes the polycystic ovarian syndrome. And with that, it messes up with your hormones. Messes up with your hormones, which in turn messes up with your menstrual cycle. We have symptoms of PCOS. I think the most common ones for females are the facial hair that they complain about. The most common symptom that these females or you females address is the facial hair. Yes, which shouldn't be of much concern. I mean, that's the least worrying of the symptoms. And also, they can have abdominal pain, so lower abdominal pain, and the irregular menstrual cycles, heavy bleeds, and all. Yes, these are the alarming symptoms that we should be thinking about. And when we see it, we should seek for medications. I mean, there are a whole lot of remedies to this. Yes, so you shouldn't be having these symptoms and sit at home. We have solutions to this. You get it? Yes, I think Lydia bought a drug called Daphne also. Yes, I think it's quite relevant to the prevention or the management of PCOS and other contraceptives that are there to also help with the PCOS. And there's also the endometriosis. That's basically the So we have the endometrium. The endometrium is what lines the uterus, the inner part of the uterus. So when these tissues, the endometrial tissues, are found anywhere apart from the uterus, that's called endometriosis. It can be found, it can be found in the fallopian tube, on the ovaries. Yes, some can be found in the rectum, but that one is very rare. Yes. So when this happens, it causes severe pain during your menstrual period as well, and also lower abdominal pain, and also may lead to heavy bleeds. Yes. And the adenomyosis is basically the endometrial tissues embedding inside the muzzle of the uterus. This can also cause severe pain and irregular cycles. So I think that's basically it.
Dr. Sorry, please, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I'll just add a little bit on the PCOS. So it's more common than people think. Some people may have the polycystic ovarian syndrome, and they wouldn't have the classic, as he said, the cysts, which are like just fluid filled follicles in the ovary. So normally I like to say that, or we like to say in medicine, that PCOS has like 3 things that we are looking out for. We are looking out for anovulatory cycles, meaning that a cycle that doesn't produce an egg. So one thing that people with PCOS have is a high risk of infertility, right? Mm-hmm. So with that, though, it will manifest as irregular periods. That's one of the commonest manifestations. And another thing we are looking for is hyperandrogenism. So that means that you have like male-like factors, as he said, the facial hair is one of them, and also acne. That's like really bad pimples, and some of them it might be so bad that it might change their voice. Yeah. And another thing is the polycystic ovaries, but yes. So with PCOS, it's something that can easily be managed, just as he said. For some people, we use the Lydia Daphne to help with the management. We can use other things to manage. Some people, they wouldn't necessarily need to go on medications unless directed by a doctor. Just lifestyle changes may help, especially people who are, obese or a little bigger. Of course, PCOS can occur in both obese and then underweight people. It really doesn't have a favorite. It can affect anyone. So it's good to get yourself checked out.
Okay. Thank you both. You heard the doctors. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms, do not hesitate. Reach out to us and we will get you a doctor to talk to. Lydia Daphne is a doctor-prescribed medicine. So please, you can't go out and buy it on your own. You have to speak to your doctor first. Now, let's talk about the giant that waits for every woman at the top of the ladder, menopause and perimenopause. When does it occur? How does it occur? And why does it occur, Dr. Sari?
Okay, so menopause ideally occurs at an average age of 45 years. But if you start, or if your period, so basically menopause is the cessation of the menstrual cycle. So it's not just your period or not just the first 5 days of bleeding that stops. The whole cycle that we talked about ceases. So with menopause, it starts when your eggs are basically diminished. So like this whole menstrual cycle is basically regulated by the eggs, for lack of, not to explain the whole medical thing. But yes, and once your eggs are depleted, or once your eggs are getting depleted, that is when perimenopause sets in. And when they are fully depleted, that is when menopause sets in. So once they are depleted, all the hormones we talked about, estrogen, progesterone, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, they all stop. And then now you don't have a cycle anymore. It's just no cycle. So the cramps that we complain about sometimes, when it's not too severe, that is, we'll kind of miss it, because, that childbearing capability is now gone. But that's fine. Yes, so with menopause, a lot of people, especially when they're getting to menopause, that's perimenopause, they start experiencing hot flashes, so they'll feel really warm. They also may have issues with managing their weight. Some people would have, complain of vaginal dryness. Some people will complain of increased frequency of UTIs. The symptoms are really endless, and we discover new symptoms for people every day. Yeah, so it's a trying time sometimes to, you know, go through that transition period, because your body is changing again after puberty. Your body is changing again, and it's something different to maneuver. Yes, but yeah.
We can't rest. As girls, we just can't rest. There's always something somewhere. Okay, so Dr. Noel, all this talk about menopause is just giving there's a clock ticking and I should hurry up and have my babies. But if I'm pushing 30, 35 and I'm still not ready, it's quite disheartening. What would you say to me in that regard?
Okay, so as we all said, I mean, we rightfully said, it's a cycle, and there's an end to the cycle. You get it? Yes. So as menopause is basically the depletion of the ovaries. You get it? So there's a point at which your ovaries will get depleted. Yes, due to low levels of estrogen. Yes, and so once you have this idea, I mean, you have the knowledge of it, I think you should plan your life. Yes, that's why we have so many family planning methods. You should plan your life and also the number of kids you want to have, at what age you want to have these kids, and all. You get it? Yes, because once you are pushing 40, 50, you should know that actually, yes, the clock is actually ticking. You get it?
Yes.
So probably while you are growing in your 30s, you think, you are not ready for this. You are not ready to give birth. We have egg freezing, yes, which is not really popular in Ghana yet, but in the States they can actually freeze the egg, and you can implant it into a donor, or let's say a recipient, yeah, who is a surrogate to bear the baby for you, but the eggs are yours, so you have the DNA and everything in the person. You get it in the baby. You get it. Yeah. So I think basically, if you get to know your cycle, you get to know um, about the age at which this cycle is going to end. You would help yourself by preparing yourself so that you can at least attain some pregnancy before the time elapses.
I'm smiling because what you basically told me is I should prepare and either have my babies before I'm old,
Yes,
I reach menopause, or I should have money by then.
that's all. That's it.
All right, okay. It's been awesome having both of you on the show. But before we wrap it up, you know, this is a contraceptive platform, right? So
Okay.
let me just say this. We've had a lot of people come or call our contact center and say that they are scared or they are alarmed, right? Because maybe someone got an IUD and she doesn't see her period anymore, so she thinks she's dying because the blood is getting stuck in her body. You know, someone who's like, oh, she's on the daily oral pill and she's been experiencing some bloating for 2 months now since she started. So she's not doing again. She's scared. She doesn't want to be bloated. Let me start with you, Doctor. Sorry. What would you say to someone like that?
Okay. So the thing about contraceptive methods is that the fortunate thing is that there are, first of all, different methods different array of methods. But the thing is, once you introduce a contraceptive method, your body is getting used, because some of them are hormonal contraceptives, which means that they are going to now intertwine with your, not intertwine, that's the wrong word to use, but basically your body has to get used to them first, right?
Yeah.
But of course, if you're uncomfortable with the symptoms, so some you may experience symptoms, especially within the first 3 months of some contraceptives. The IUD, some people complain of like very severe pain on their periods for the first 3 to 6 months, but after that the pain should lessen and go back to normal. But of course, if you're not comfortable with the side effects you may be experiencing with some of these contraceptives, right? Because some people don't experience symptoms at all. You can always talk to your healthcare provider. It's not by force to stick to one. I'm sure you guys have thousands, millions,
Oh, they do.
We have
billions.
we have a very wide range.
Yes,
We
a
do.
very wide range. You have the oral contraceptives,
Yes.
you have the implants, you have
Yes,
the
we have-
IUDs.
yes.
Injectables
Yeah.
and all.
We have Daphne.
Exactly.
Yes, we have
You
injectables.
Injectables, yes. So if you don't want hormonal contraceptives, you also have an option without hormones. So the options are endless, and you should feel free to choose whatever you want to do. But always speak to your healthcare provider if you're not comfortable with something.
Thank you, Dr. Sorry. You do always truly decide, but please try. If it doesn't work for you, come talk to us and then we'll sort you out. Dr. Noel, please, to you now.
Okay, I think she has actually said it all. Yes, so in case one contraceptive method doesn't work for you, we have variety. You get it? Yes, it's very normal that some of these hormonal contraceptives may mess up your cycle, cause some irregularities, but with time it normalizes. You get it? But after a long period of time, you feel like no, there's still an issue with your menstrual cycle. You should definitely see a doctor. It may not just be the pill or the hormonal contraceptive that is causing it. It may be an underlying cause. You would never know. Yes, so I think it's best that we have this at the back of our mind.
Thank you once again, Dr. Noel. And thank you too, Dr. Sari. It's been really, really great having you. This has been very great chat. And to you, our lovely viewers, this will not happen without you. What can I say? This has been Room 1221 Live. It's been awesome having you with us. As always, I have been your host, Ivy, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Have an awesome time. Bye.
Room 1221. Room 1221.